See, dear students, the next is that how the tribals group lived. The second one were, the first one were the cultivators, and the second were like they were hunting and gathering the food. So the Kondas in the Odisha, they were living and hunting the animals in the forest and eating their flesh. They were living. They regularly went on collecting hunts. They divided the meat amongst themselves in the group. They ate the fruit, roots collected from the forest, and cooked food with the oil they executed from the seeds of the sal tree, or mahua, or the mahua. Mahua is a tree which oil they were using from the seeds of these trees. They used many forest shrubs and herbs for medicinal purposes also. So they had good knowledge of medicines also, and sold forest produce in the local markets, and they were selling the forest products in the local markets. So the local weavers and leather workers turned to the Kondas when they needed supplies of kusum and palash flowers. So the local people, they wanted the kusum and palash flower to color their clothes and leather. So the kusum and palash flowers were available in the forest, and those days the natural colors were used, because there were no artificial colors. The industrial growth was not that. So for that the people were dependent on what? On these Adivasis, these tribes. From where did the forest people get the supplies of rice and other grains? At times they exchange goods. So it was the barter system. They used to give the flowers, they used to bring their forest material to sell, and in place of it they used to get the grain. So at other times they bought goods with the small amount of earnings they had. Some of them did odd jobs in the villages, carrying loads or building roads, while others labored in the field of peasants and farmers. So from the long time, these Adivasis used to do some work for the kings, and they were doing the work in the villages also. So they were getting money in place of it. But many of them liked Baigas of central India. But many of them, like the Baigas in the central India, were reluctant to do work for others, and the Baigas saw themselves as a people of forest, and who could not live on the produce of the forest. It was below the dignity of Baiga to become a laborer. So Baiga people, this is a caste. They are found in the central part of India. For example, in the forest of Orissa and this Karnataka, Telangana, these Baigas are very rich nowadays. They are very rich. They did not like to work as laborer, and they had their own dignity. So tribal groups often needed to buy and sell in order to be able to get goods that were not produced within the locality, and this led to their dependence on the traders and money lenders. So they started becoming the traders, and their life was depending on the money lenders. Traders came around with things for sale and sold the goods at high prices. Money lenders gave loans to them, and tribals made their cash needs. So in this way they are getting the cash. But the interest charge on the loans was usually very high. So for tribals, market and commerce often meant debt and poverty. So they were not believing the debt and poverty. So they were what happened? They therefore came to see money lenders and traders as evil outsiders and the cause of their misery. So what they came, they have very simplest rule. They don't understand the mathematics of interest and all. Once they understood that they are being looted, robbed, or they are going poor, so they know only two things: hunting, killing, and safeguarding themselves. So their lives were miserable due to these money lenders, so they called them outsiders, because no other Adivasi will make a Adivasi poor. They had such a group unity, so they had this mind set up, and the one who is making them power, they thought them as the outsiders. Now some herded the animals also, some were keeping the animal keeping business was also done. They were having the cattle, the sheep and the goats, and they were carrying their goats, and these goats were, after some times, they were sold in the villages, and from that they were getting money. They see the one Gujars, the Punjab hills, then the Labdis of Andhra Pradesh, cattle herds, the Gadis of Kulu were shepherd, and the Bakarwals of Kashmir. So these are all shepherds. They were grazing the cattle. These shepherds were grazing the cattle. You see, a time to hunt, a time to sow, a time to move to a new field. This is a source from where the information for this chapter has been gathered. Okay, so what is given here, that this British anthropologist who lived in the Baigas, okay, in the central part of India, in the Orissa and Karnataka Telangana forest. Okay, so it was 1930 and 1940 40s time, and that picture is taken in that time. Okay, so a woman went to clearing. In Chait, women went to clearing to cut the stalk, and that were already ripped. So men cut large trees and go for their ritual hunt. So in this way, these Baigas were living. Baigas, the Kondas were living. So they were cutting the trees, collecting food grains, other material, and selling it in the part of the cities. So the woman gather fruits like sago, tamarind, and mushroom. Okay, so these kind of fruits she has gathered. They used to gather, the women's. Baiga woman can only gather roots of kanda and mahua seeds. So these Baiga women were gathering kanda and mahua seeds. Okay, so they were making the onions and mahua. Mahua is a kind of tree which has flowers and fruits, and the seeds from the flowers they make the wine. So all of the Adivasis in central India, the Baigas, were known as the best hunters, and the Baisak, the firing of the forest took place. So in the Baisakhi, the firing of the forest took place. The women gathered unburnt wood to burn. Men continued to hunt, but nearer their village in Jet, sowing took place, and hunting still went on. So this is how these Adivasis were living. Okay, they were also cultivating, and they were also hunting and gathering the food. Okay. In Magh, ships were made, new Bevaras, and hunting gathering was the main subsistence activity. So the cycle described above took place in the first year. In the second year, there was more time for hunting, as only few crops had to be sown and harvested. But since there was enough food, the men lived in the Bevaras. It was only in the third year that the diet had to be supplemented with the forest products. So first year they used to hunt, second year they used to collect, and third year they used to have their regular crops. So that was the living style of Baigas in the central part of India. Now see on the next page, some took to settle cultivation. Now some of the Adivasis were permanent settled. So there are many Adivasis. Now you see that in the Satpura ranges in our area also there are the Adivasis, Pavra, Bhill. These Adivasis are permanently settled Adivasis. Even before the 19th century, many from within the tribal groups had begun settling down, and from the long time they have some of the groups have started settling. Okay, they settle in the forest, they settle in the mountains, but they settle. They were not zooming. They were not wandering from one place to another place. Okay, so they settled themselves from, and they made their own living. So they like this, the Adivasis in the different part settled themselves. Okay. They began to use plowing gradually. They got rights over the land also. They lived there, and now in many cases in Mundas of Chota Nagpur, the land belonged to the clan as a whole. And now the government has made a law that the Adivasis where they are living. For example, in Maharashtra, the Adivasis are living in Roha, Palghar, then there is a Adivasi place in Sakri, near close to Nasik. Then this side Nandurbar, Akkalkoa, Nagpur, Nawapur. Then this side are just close to MP borders. So these places they were living permanently. They became permanent there, and so the government also given the land to the Adivasis. Now the lands belong to the Adivasis. That is the Land Act made by the government, and it is not easy to purchase a land in the forest. Those belong directly to the Adivasis. So most of the lands are given in the name of the Adivasis, and they are given the certificates also. Therefore, all of them had rights on the land, and very often some people with the clan acquired more power than others. Some became chiefs, the sarpanch of the villages, and others followers. Powerful men often rented out their land instead of cultivating in themselves, and iski wajah se some people became rich. Okay, so instead of cultivating, they started giving the land for rents. Some of them gave the land for rent for their own groups only, and some they gave to others. British officials saw settled tribals group like the Gonds, Santhals as more civilized than hunter-gatherers and shifting cultivators. Those who lived in the forest were considered to be wild and savage. They needed to be settled and civilized. So some were civilized Adivasis also were there, like in eastern part of India. So this Garo, Khasi, Jaitia, Gond, Mizos, these Adivasis, most of them were civilized, and they had the knowledge. How did colonial rule affect tribal lives? Now see how it affected. What happened to the tribal chiefs? See, before the arrival of the British in many areas, tribal chiefs were important people. They enjoyed a certain amount of economic power and had the right to administer and control their territories. So their rules were different. They were not under any kings. Their rules were totally different. In some places, they had their own policies decided on the local rules. Till now, they make their own marriage rules and other rules. Their rules are totally different. So they were allowed to keep their lands title over a cluster of the village and rent out lands, but they lost much of their administrative power and were forced to follow laws made by British officers in India. But in the time of Britishers, these people, they lost their powers, their weapons. They could not fight the British, so they have to follow the British rules and discipline the tribal group rules and discipline the tribal groups on behalf of the British. They lost the authority they had earlier enjoyed amongst their people and were unable to fulfill their traditional function. So in this way, their sarpanch, their group member or leader, had the right to rule over the group, but in the British rule, it was not the thing. Nobody had the right like this. What happened to the shifting cultivators? Now it's okay that permanent cultivators were in the permanent contact of the British, but the shifting cultivators, they were shifting from one place to another place. So why they'll listen the Britishers? They'll keep on shifting. So here is a Bhil Adivasi Samaj who is cultivating, and Bhils are found in Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. So groups to settle down and become peasant cultivators. Settled peasants were easier to control. So those who were settled, they were controlled, but those who were Jhum Adivasis, They were zooming from one place to another place. They were not easily controlled. The British also wanted a regular revenue source for the state. So they introduced a land settlement, and they measured the land, defined the rights. We have seen how they started measuring and defining the land and taxes. Okay, so that we have seen already in the chapter number 2. See, the tenants were to pay rent to the landowner, who in turn paid revenue to the state. So the British effort to settle Zoom cultivators was not very successful. Settle plough cultivation is not easy. In fact, is not easy in areas where water sources are and the soil is dry. Now see, the British efforts to settle the Zoom cultivators was not easy. They were moving one place to another place. सेटल जो आदिवासी थे वो तो उनको मिल गए, अब उन पे उन्होंने रूल करना भी शुरू कर दिया. आसान है क्योंकि वो वहीं पे रहते हैं, पर ये घूमने वाले जो थे एक जगह से दूसरे जगह, इन पे कैसे कंट्रोल कर सकते थे? इन पे कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते थे, कोई पुख्ता उसका ये नहीं था. So Zoom cultivators who took to plough cultivation often suffered since their fields and did not produce good yields. So the Zoom cultivators in northeast India, instead of counting with their traditional practice, facing widespread protest, the British had to ultimately allow them to right to carry on shifting cultivation in some parts of forest. So the British had to allow them for some rules also. It's not like that British could easily win them. They were also very powerful in the area of forest in the fighting. Forest laws and their impact. The life of tribal group, as you have seen, was directly connected to the forest. So changes in forest laws and had a considerable effect on the tribal laws. So what happened? The direct rule of the forest were changed, and that made them a little bit worried. Some forests were classified as reserve forests, for they produce timber which the British wanted. In these forests, some people were not allowed to move freely, practice Zoom cultivation, collect fruits. In such situations, many were therefore forced to move to another areas in which search of the work is livelihood. Okay, so they were wandering from one place to another place and they are finding their livelihood. So this was happening. But once the British stopped